drops, no one knows. We're going head into the unknown.
Just have to absorb a little bit to put it on 50-50 where it all.
Hello, everybody. How's it going today? Hi, Rob. Rob is here, everybody, or Wolfie, as we know him.
Hey, guys.
So he knows I've got Nick with Please Bring Him Home. He's going to be here in about 20 minutes. The reason for that is I wanted to have time to say hello to everybody and kind of try to work out any technical bugs that we might have or anything like that. So I asked him to come on at 4:30 my time. But hello, everybody. I'm going to say hi to all my mods just as a group thing, so I don't have to point everybody out. My mods, y'all are the best, I think, in the business. You really are. I'm really happy that we have our mod meeting and our group chat and everything. I think it sets us apart a little bit because now we're all on the same page. So I gave away 10 memberships earlier today. I wasn't aware that I was able to do that. Wolfie dropped, he'll be back. I wasn't sure that I could do that. But I did it and I gave 10 away. So enjoy those. I've got subscribers only mode turned on and you have to be a sub. I think I set it at 20 minutes. I'm not sure, but I think I set it at 20 minutes. And slow mode is on. So, I mean, if you're a member, you don't have to wait for the, 60 seconds or something between messages, or maybe 30 seconds. I can't remember what it was, but anyways, there's slow mode turned on. And if you're a member, that doesn't affect you. If you're not a member, then you just have to wait until, it's just a slow chat down a little bit. Yesterday got a little crazy. There were a lot of people in here kind of making waves a little bit, and we want to try our best to stay away from that. So if you have a question for Nick, I'm going to get you to put some kind of question mark, something to make your comment stand out. I've got American Justice in backstage, and she's going to start comments for me so that it's easy for me to find your questions for Nick. We'll hit those a little later. And other than that, I want to say hi to everybody. Hey, Maxine, Nova Scotia, and Andrea. Kimberly, good to see you. Hey, Lynn, and again, I'm not going to point out all my mods. I appreciate you more than you could ever imagine. But hello, everybody. Hey, Countryside Wildflowers. Yeah, I hope it's decent where you are. I think everywhere is getting some pretty shitty weather. It is still snowing here. Still snowing here. Hey, Lynn and TJ's mom, good to see ya. Hey, Cindy. And Animal Keeper, good to see ya. And who else? Belinda Believes is here. Hey. Who else? Cold Burn, as always, good to see ya. Hey, Andrea. Yeah, this live is, I'm looking forward to it too. I don't want to focus completely on Jack and Lily's search. Of course, I think a lot of you have your questions for Nick will be about Jack and Lily. So a lot of my questions are going to be more around Please Bring Me Home, the organization, how it all works, all that kind of stuff. And I'll leave the Jack and Lily questions to you guys. Allison, good to see you. Make sure that you put your questions in though. Melissa's going to star them, like I said. So, Hey, Eddie, good to see ya. Andrea, I can't remember if I said hi to you or not. 2.5 feet of snow in Saskatchewan. That's crazy. I mean, we've got an absolute ton here too. It's ridiculous. Hey, Jackie B. And who else? I believe, oh, Gaspé is here. And see some new names. Interesting, interesting. Ruby for Justice, thanks for being here. Betty Knight, hi. Anna, and little Mama's here. Hey, little Mama, it's been a while. Sue is here. I refuse to say the second part of your name. Go Flames. And that goes for you too, Wolfie. CM, good to see ya. Thanks for finding my channel. I don't remember seeing you here before. Babies are my number one. Hi. Thanks for being here. Who else? Colleen, Lacey, and who else? Miss Patty, good to see you. You said some new names. Good names. Triggles, hey. So glad to be able to catch you live again. I'm glad that you were able to catch you live again too. Good evening, Julie. No night shift. Hopefully you got lots of rest. Yeah, hey, Anna. My baby's number one. Thank you for becoming a member. Sesame, great to see you. Roots. Hey, Roots. Nick able to talk about the Please Bring Home Dogs and if they searched. Okay. That is on my list of stuff to ask them, Roots, but thank you for your question. It's been starred, I see. And Cindy, great to see you from Amherst, Nova Scotia. Tina, great to have you here. Hey, Star Child. Kimber, I would like to know if Nick actually may think if Jack and Lily's still alive. Good question. Great question. And I think I've come to the end. Oh, here we go. Whoa. Colleen, Louisville, Kentucky. Extremely warm 50s and 60s. You should bring that here. Hey, April. Thank you. It's the lighting. I'm, yes, back in the storage room. Don't even get me started. Anyways, spent 4 hours today putting your deer jerky on skewers to dry. Not even gonna comment. Bobby Joe, thank you for being here. Shard does definitely not like the closet. I feel like I'm gonna be echoing today because it is an echoey room. Whatever. I'm over it. Anyway, so Rob, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. How about you?
Good. So everybody knows Rob is the one, or sorry, I keep calling you Rob, my bad. Wolfie is the one that reached out to Please Bring Me Home, Nick, and he's responsible for setting this up. So everybody can thank Wolfie for this live today. And, we appreciate good content here. And I know that there's been some jib jab out there about my live last night and a bunch of people, maybe some undesirables coming in and just here to cause crap. And that's why my moms are the best. They're all over it yesterday. And hopefully we don't have a replay of last night tonight. So I see questions coming in from Nick. For Nick, that'll be great. From Pictou County, less than 20 minutes from where Lily and Jack went missing. I know some of Daniel's family, but do not know Daniel himself. Okay. I mean, I feel like we were talking a little bit last night about how and why Jack and Lily's case is so near and dear to a lot of us, and how there are so many people that are so invested in this case and what makes this case stand out. And I think for anybody that's local, even anywhere in the Maritimes, really, I think it hits close to home. and with the Dylan Eller a few years back, it's all just when it hits close to home, I feel like you just become invested. And if you have kids around that age, you're even more invested. Or if you're a neighbor, you feel extra passionate about it. And for us, we all have our own reasons, I'm sure. But I don't know if you want to share your reason that you talked about last night, Rob. But
Mm, not at the moment, actually.
mm, yeah, I think it's because of for me, it was, the more you learned and the more you saw kind of the environment they were in and the life they were living, and the response of their family after they went missing was kind of heartbreaking. And it made a lot of people just want to take care of Jack and Lily. And, we feel really passionate about finding them and figuring out what happened and hopefully bringing some answers for Belinda.
Yep.
But, that's just my own thing. Hey, Nancy and Renee, good to see you. Who else? I need to finish watching. I was under the influence and sleepy. Yes, I know I did. I can't remember if I replied to you or not, but I did get that last night. Steph Wires, Nancy. The Canadian cat lady. I'm not coming in too late. Hope you had a Merry Christmas with your family. It was good. It was short, but it was very good. And like I said, you're not late. Nick will be here in about 10 minutes now. I wanted time to talk to my room before things get started. So I won't be able to pay too close attention to chat. But like I said, Melissa's in the background, American Justice is in the background. She's going to be starring your questions for Nick, and we'll hit them all towards the end. Hey, Lori, thanks for being here. Anybody else? Late coming in? Nope. So, oh, there's one, Christy. So, do y'all want to quickly watch what was it? The Please Bring Me Home news. Yep. Before Nick gets here.
I just got a
CBC
quick
News.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't see the chat, so I do apologize to anybody. So I can see the little window and the comments and the to left hand side where Charmaine's at. So you're welcome, everybody.
Yeah, for sure. It's a little different when you're on stage, when you're on the live stream. It's a little bit different for guests. They don't get to see um they don't get to see the chat. And like when I'm on Sunny's, especially since she made me co-host, I can't even participate in the chat. Like when I'm in chat on Sunny's Lives, I'm literally on my phone. I know Canadian Cat Lady, it's terrible. It is. And I apologize in advance, but I'm in a closet. I'm in a large a small storage room, and my mic is messed up anyways. I'm going to play with it while we watch this quick video. And once the video is done, we'll have Nick with us. I see him backstage there. So we're going to watch this, and then we will get on with Nick.
And the fact that it's found in the water, downriver, yeah, it's just strange. It's strange. So we're organizing a search for Jack and Lily Sullivan. We are relying on community members to come and join those efforts. We're going to offer like a little bit of shooting from the hip training on walking along looking for evidence. We've had about 40 people volunteer, but overnight you've had some people drop out. So I would be over the moon if 30 people showed up. Your safety does come first. We are looking for the kids, but your safety comes first. I would say mostly family and friends, and then there's just like concerned members of the community that wanted to get involved and help search, and this is their opportunity to get that. We were not going to get involved. We were trying to stay far away from this because we felt that the RCMP were heavily involved, search and rescue was heavily involved. They were doing a bang up job from what we could see from the outside looking in, and you know, it as soon as you start having conversations with the family, when any family member fills out an intake with please bring me home, we always get involved in some capacity. We never say no. Of course, it's sad we're going to search for 2 missing kids, but I think that the community and the family coming together to do this effort and a crew coming from Ontario is hopefully overpowering that somberness. Okay.
Can you describe how the day's been going so far?
It's been a wee bit stressful. You're just trying to manage from the outside to make sure that the searchers are safe, and there's 6 groups, so it's a lot of moving around and making sure that they're okay. Like I've had to get 2 people out who needed to go out because it was too much for them. So that's been a little bit difficult to manage. And then just with the cell service and the walkie-talkies not working properly, it's been really difficult. But I know where everybody is now, and we've only got a couple hours left of sunlight, so we're ahead of the game. There has been some items located that would initially be like items of interest. So I'd look to be like a boy's t-shirt we had located. We sent that to the RCMP. They're going to connect with family to see if it appears familiar. At this time, it doesn't appear to be a familiar shirt. We found like a box with some people's names in it that are interesting that we're going to turn over to the RCMP. They're actually on duty today, so just in the event that we do find something. And they were very interested in the box that we found with the certain names in it that I can't say, but they're interested in that. And the fact that it's found in the water downriver, and yeah, it's just strange. Strange. We're gonna go and just check in with 2 of the search teams. This is a rickety road we're gonna be going down to reach them though. Likely gonna be picking up 2 of them to come back to vehicles so that they can come and the rest of them can get picked up.
I'm good. Anyone want out of this? Good.
Okay. So just continue on then. So you guys are gonna go to the pipeline, or sorry, yeah, it is the pipeline trail. And then walk on the opposite side of the woods. It's a pretty thick trail.
Okay.
And then I guess just follow along the water. Do you guys think see what time you're at when you get to the water though?
Okay.
Because you'll see
Yeah, I got you.
you're got a ways up here to go and down there. So, and I want to start really getting people out by 4,
Yeah, what time is it now?
2, yeah, 2 hours. This by far has been the most difficult to manage during the search because you're having to check in with each team every 30 minutes and things come up. You have to go and talk to property owners who are upset that we're there.
I will have you charged for trespassing.
Do it!
This has been by far one of the more difficult ones to manage from a safety perspective. Now that I've been here, I'm even in my own mind trying to comprehend how it can be possible that these kids wandered off and they haven't been found, especially after being in there and seeing all the flagging tape and hearing from all the property owners that we spoke with what the searching has been done. I'm having a really hard time fathoming that probability now that I've seen it for myself.
And what makes you say that?
Many things, but I think most importantly it is the amount of effort that search and rescue has put forward to try and find these kids and how quick they were able to start that process. I just find it more unlikely by the minute today that they had wandered. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just I after seeing it, I can't understand how they wouldn't have been found that first day. We're not stopping. We have to stop because winter's approaching. And we will come back in springtime and do a search dependent on what our CMP's involvement in springtime will be. So, and who knows what'll be learned throughout the winter. When the families ask for help, you can't really say no, whether it's a current case or whatever. We have the capacity to do it. We shot from the hip here and planned this in 2 weeks, and we were able to do it, and we were able to clear many kilometers just by asking for locals to come help. So it can certainly be done, and we're in it until they're found.
Hmm. So that was really good. Like I really like that interview. It gives us some insight, I think, on how Nick and Please Bring Me Home feel about the search that they did. But let's bring Nick up now. Hi, Nick. It's good to have you here.
Hi, Nick.
And how was your Christmas? Everything good on your end?
Yeah, it was great. It was, yeah, one for the ages anyway. Our Christmas usually lasts like 4 or 5 days, probably like everybody. So we're just kind of winding down from it now. So how about yours?
It was good. It was quick, but it was good. We only had 4 days off, but it was a quick turnaround. Lots of traveling, but really good. How about yours, Rob?
It was very relaxing. But
Yeah.
yeah, didn't really visit much with family or anything like that. Just sat at home, just chilled.
Mm.
So
Excellent. So like I said, Wolfie is the one that reached out to Nick for us to have him join us today. And I know that the DT show also had Nick on a while back, and a lot of things were covered on that live stream. And I kind of want to go a little bit different direction this time around. We have somebody in the background, Nick, who's starring questions for you that we will get to towards the end, which is why I'm not going to focus so much on questions about the search for Jack and Lily. Specifically, I'm more interested in Please Bring Me Home and yourself and kind of the organization. So if you can just kind of tell us about yourself and Please Bring Me Home and I guess when you started, how it all came about, that would be great.
Sure. So thanks for having me on. And yeah, Rob, thanks for reaching out. Your persistence paid off. I know I'm not one to get back right away on emails, but I appreciate your patience. And anytime I'm asked to come on and speak about how Please Bring Me Home operates or any of the cases that we're involved in, I love that opportunity. I hope that I'm doing the families justice in that regard. So yeah, my name's Nick Oldrieve, and I'm the executive director and co-founder of Please Bring Me Home. It is strictly a volunteer-driven effort. Full time, I'm a rehabilitation support worker for brain injury, and then when I have time, this is the hobby, the volunteer hobby. And everyone that's a part of Please Bring Me Home comes from a different walk of life. So it comes with just you have this passion of wanting to solve a puzzle, and one of the most difficult puzzles to try and solve is a missing person. So back in 2016, I became very curious about a local case to Owen Sound, Ontario, and it's such a long story, but the short version is became curious about it, began asking questions about it. People began telling us information about it that we would share with law enforcement. And then other families asked for help and other people wanted to join. And then it just, every year, it seems to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you have this past summer when we're, east from where Please Bring Me Home started, doing a search for Dylan and then doing a search for Jack and Lily. So it really just boils down to there's always something that can be done when somebody is missing, and we're just continue to fight that fight.
That's amazing that you have this full-time career that's also probably very challenging but rewarding, and you still make time to, I guess, volunteer your services to this whole finding missing people, which leads me into my next question about success stories. Like, how successful has your organization been over the years? Like, do you have any fantastic, success stories or, anything that you could share?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'd like to share one of each kind of pillar of Please Bring Me Home. So a case that was solved through investigation, a case that was solved through an anonymous tip, and a case that was solved through a search. You know, we've assisted in locating over 70 people since we started, and that's Canada wide. A number of those were young persons that had ran away from foster care or group homes, and as they age out and get older, then we certainly communicate with them and ask if we can talk about their story, and talk about how they were located and share with the public. So so we don't share young persons' names in that regard. So I guess in investigative wise, Michael Samdas is the one that comes to mind. So Michael Samdas went missing from Hamilton, Ontario, and he got in an altercation outside of a bar. And I'm just trying to make sure I get all the details correct here. I was going through the files today, but he had gotten in an altercation outside of a Hamilton bar, and he was subsequently charged as being part of that altercation. But we believe that he did become injured. The irony is, I work in brain injury, and I believe he sustained a brain injury during this altercation. Didn't show up for a lawyer's appointment and went missing. So because he was charged, there was the possibility he was just hiding because he would have had a warrant. There was the possibility he passed away. And so our focus early on was the Hamilton Harbor. Wondered if he had found his way into the water. We have a certain number of cases that we use open source to put their pictures on and see what kicks back. So when I say open source, there's some really good avenues out there that anybody can do. There's paid versions and there's free versions. You can put somebody's picture up there and it will kick back to you. If it was ever shared online, it'll kick back a comparative photo with a percentage of comparison. So, this photo is 60%. Well, then you don't even need to really worry about that. Michael Samdas was one of those cases that we continue to do that. And we put this photo up, and a mugshot from Florida came back, a Florida prison. And when you look at the photo at first, and anyone can Google Michael Samdas and should be able to see the story. But this dimple on the right side of his face just seemed to match completely, but it looked almost nothing like him. It was under a fake name, and the story was that this person, who we believe was Michael Samdas, had assaulted somebody quite viciously in Florida and was arrested and put in jail. So we connected the Florida jail to the Hamilton police, who had his fingerprints on file, and they compared the fingerprints, and it was a match, and it was Michael Samdas. So that was just active investigating, even though and I'm sure we'll talk about this at some point with Jack and Lily, is we were focusing on Hamilton Harbor at the time, but it can't be your only focus. You also have to focus on the possibility that he's hiding, or he ran away, or he sustained a brain injury. He had no recollection of his life in Canada. He left, and he made a fake name, and and that was it. So that's the investigative side of it. I went on a rant. I don't know if you have any questions just from that one.
That's wild to me. Like he was charged and kind of wanted on those charges, and he fled from it.
Yeah, like it was a low-level charge from a little altercation outside of a bar. And so I think everyone's first reaction was, well, he doesn't want to answer those charges, so he ran off. Right. But he had taken off. He got a fake ID somewhere, changed his name. We know he was in Texas at one point, and then this event happened in Florida. And he had assault. He viciously attacked somebody who was jogging, and a lawyer was driving by with his son, and they actually shot at him to stop him, and he ran off, and then he got caught. He wasn't shot, but he was caught shortly after that. And they didn't know it was Michael at this time. It wasn't until it came back through the facial rec, through the open source with us, that it was recognized that it was him.
Okay, wow. That's wild.
Part of the avenue is the investigative aspect. And there are some cases, Jack and Lily is another one, where we're not actively investigating it, but we're offering search efforts and planning search efforts. And the reason that, the reason we were investigating with Michael Samdas is because nothing was happening from law enforcement. And law enforcement was open about that. They didn't know. They didn't know where he could be. They didn't have they went through all the uh, routine checks, phone logs, bank accounts, bank activity, CCTV footage, and nothing was standing out to them. So they came up empty-handed, and we stick with it. We're not in a capacity to do an investigation on Jack and Lily at this time because our CP are doing it. If we were to get involved in an investigative capacity, we would truly hinder what they're doing, without a doubt. We may help. It's possible that all the help could help resolve it, but right now, with how active they are, we don't want to hinder their efforts. So that's the investigative strategy around a case. Regarding an anonymous tip, it was quite early on in Please Bring Me Home's expansion when we just started to take on current cases. And this is back in 2019, where when Nolan Panchishin's case came into us, it was the first case that was current. And there just didn't seem to be anything happening from a law enforcement standpoint. So we said, we're going to allow anonymous tips to come in for Nolan, but we're not going to investigate. If you know something, say something. And for some reason, the person who sent the tip in just saw our ad about it and sent the tip in through Please Bring Me Home instead of Crime Stoppers or law enforcement. So they sent it in. Every time a tip came in from Nolan Panchishin, we took out any identifiers that were in the tip first. If someone, like let's say someone sends an anonymous tip in and it's obvious that they intended to remain anonymous, but they had put something in the message where we now know who they are. We're taking that out when we send it to law enforcement because they sent an anonymous tip in. We want to honor that. So we took out the identifiers. We sent the anonymous tip off to police. And when we would do that, the police would get back in a day and say, yeah, we got the information. Thank you. With this one, within 2 minutes, I got a phone call after we sent it from police. And they said, you got to put something up on your site. Whoever sent that tip, we need them to communicate. So we put a post up saying, hey, if you sent a tip in about Nolan Panchishin, please reach out. They did. They chose to communicate with law enforcement. And that led to the police locating Nolan Panchishin's remains and charging 2 people with his murder. So it was a current case. We followed our procedure that we were just building where we're not going to investigate. We get a tip in and we shoot it off. So that's the second pillar, the anonymous tip side of Please Bring Me Home.
Wow.
And it works. It works.
Well, like I don't even, that shocks me that things just kind of come together like that. And especially the first case you talked about, the investigative angle, just because you never know, right? You think one thing and then you find somebody in Florida due to a mugshot. I mean, that's absolutely crazy.
I can't tell you how, if you could measure what we were least expecting for Michael's case, that was probably way up there. I did not expect the mugshot to come back at him in Florida. So, yeah, it's just, you can't have tunnel vision, and you got to take your preconceived, emotions and opinions out of it. You really have to stay focused on any possibility. So the search aspect, I mean, we've been successful in multiple different searches. Terry Shope, who we had located out in Georgian Bay. There's 2 recent-ish cases that have been resolved that we just have to wait for law enforcement to put their post about because we told them we won't say anything. So I'm just going to honor that. But that has happened over the last 6 months. The one that has to do with just a continuous search effort. I've talked about Eric Spencer before. Eric Spencer went missing from Thornbury, Ontario, which isn't far from Owen Sound. It's about a 40-minute drive. But he was last seen parking his vehicle in a stranger's driveway in Honey Harbor, which is up by like Tanagwashing Midland area, still part of Georgia Bay. And the person had come out and said, "What are you doing?" And then apparently Eric was just rhyming off a bunch of things that didn't make sense, and he walked off into the woods. Police searched extensively, heavily. They went through those woods like multiple times and used every available resource to locate him, and they were unsuccessful in doing so. So when we got Eric's case, we started from scratch. Let's pretend he went missing yesterday. What would we do? Obviously search. Okay, well, we can check that off for the moment. Let's pretend that we've all gone in and searched. Police went in to search. They didn't find him. So let's pretend that. What's the investigative avenue? We couldn't find a record of him anywhere. It just looked like he walked into those woods and he never came out. So with this case, it's the first time that law enforcement gave us access to their search maps. So we were looking at the search map, and there's just a large amount of swampy area and moving water, rivers and stuff in the area. So we chose, we're not going to grid search it or line search it like has been done in the past. We're going to follow just the perimeter of the water. Because if we believe he's here, which we believe, then, and we know police searched it, which they did, then he likely was underwater at the time. So we began walking the perimeter, and in the very north end of that area, we located what was just like perfectly placed a human skull. Like it was undoubtedly, like it wasn't under any leaves, it was just there. And then we began kind of, two of us started making our way out to the roadway, and the other ones began to fan out from that skull. And then we located a coat, more bones, and then we led up OPP back there, and that led to being Eric Spencer, who was missing for 5.5 years at the time. So it's, just because it's been searched, it's an imperfect system. They're doing their best, just like we do when we go out, just like anybody who goes out to search for anything. It's you're doing the best you can. But as we talk about Jack and Lily, the wandering theory, it's been hit a lot, right? Like a lot has been thrown at the wandering theory that they had walked away. But with the amount of water and the amount of places that those kids could have misadventured into, it hasn't been fully debunked yet. So that's kind of where we're continuing the effort. We're going to continue to try and debunk that misadventure theory, the wandering theory, but also ideally we locate them, right? Like that's ideally we locate them. And at the end of the day, we're either going to continue to debunk it or we're going to locate them. And the lack of evidence is still evidence in itself. So it's still leading towards a conclusion eventually.
So just going off of your last story there, what happens when your searchers do come across human remains? Like what is, because from what I understand with the Jack and Lily search, they were to call in to you, send their coordinates, and then you would come out, take a picture, send it to the police. Is that any different when you actually come across what you suspect to be human remains, or like a skull?
Yeah, like what we know to be human remain, it's really just from us. And I mean, I've looked at thousands of bones over the last decade, but I still, unless it's a skull, I'm still treating it. Well, how do I word that? Like, if it's a skull, we're calling the OPP. We don't touch anything, whatever. If we don't know if it's human, we're taking pictures of it. We're geotagging where it is. We're not waiting there for the forensic anthropologist to get back. We've taken the picture. We have the coordinates. We got to continue moving on because we don't want to wait half an hour and then we've just wasted half an hour waiting. So we ran into this in a case for Juanita Migwans out in Manitoulin Island over this past season. And Juanita's been missing for just over a year, and we took a picture of this bone and we got the coordinates and we sent it off to our forensic anthropologist, and we continued moving on. And she got back to us 20 minutes later, you need to call the police. And so she was very confident it was like human. It didn't end up being human, but we had to go back. We called the police there. And darn it, though, did it stumped the whole lot of us, because even when we were just kind of on our own looking at photos, comparing this bone we found to human bones, it looks so much like it could be. But anyhow, if we locate bones, we send it, we get the coordinates, we send the picture off to Ashley, our forensic anthropologist. She's going to come back with one of three things. It's animal, move on. Like 100% animal. Like, she's not going to say it's maybe animal. It is 100% animal, move on. Second option is, I don't know what it is. I would, if I were you, I would take better photos and send it back to me and CC the person. Or the third option is, stop what you're doing. That's like the human contact trace. That did happen on an earlier case this year. That, again, we can't discuss, but in that avenue, it was verified human remains, and police had come out and collected. So it had occurred there.
And that's got to be hard. Kind of, I guess, leads into my next question. What kind of, because I had a good look at your website over the past number of weeks, actually, and I know that you're a volunteer organization, but I got to wonder, because I know a lot of volunteer-based organizations, you still need a core group of paid individuals who are going to be kind of the leaders, the reliable, team members that are always going to be there. So what kind of are any of your board of directors or anything like that, are they paid? Or, and my reason for asking that, does that require any kind of training? Because if you're just Joe Blow citizen like myself, and I come across human remains, that's got to be hard. It's got to be devastating. So is there any kind of training for your core group? And like, is there a core member in every search group, I guess? Because I know you rely on volunteers a lot, right? So like, how does that work for training, I guess?
Well, I guess like the first part of your question is, no one gets paid. That may be like that's a nice goal to have, to eventually have Please Bring Me Home be people's, part-time gig or full-time thing, to do what you love and get paid and support your family. But there's no avenue for it. There's no way that anyone at Please Bring Me Home could be paid, because all the money that comes in solely goes towards paying mileage and lodging, and sometimes like fees for consultants that come in. So like, we have a cadaver dog company we use in Ontario. That's $200 an hour, but they're top of the line. They're top of the line cadaver dogs. So that's not really Please Bring Me Home. That's a consultant of Please Bring Me Home. If we have forensic anthropologists or ground penetrating radar come out, then we'll pay their mileage and lodging to go out. If we have a number of volunteers to go out and search, then we like to raise funds to pay for the mileage and lodging for the search effort. But no one gets like a rate. Nobody gets paid. It's there's, after a search, there's really no money left over. It's where we get carried kind of search to search and decide, okay, this is how much we need to successfully get a group there. And that's where the money goes towards. As for the training, my training with Please Bring Me Home, because it started in 2016, has just been as we go, sitting in on the meetings, getting training from retired members of the OPP, master searchers of the OPP, who are giving me their their handbooks on the training that they would offer, and then we offer that to our volunteers as well. When we did this search for Jack and Lily, this was 3 of us went down there, and then 30 people that we had never met before in person. So out of that, we met people who wanted to continue the effort with Please Bring Me Home, who we got to see work. We got to see them search. We got to learn how they operate, and it fits with our values and how we operate. So that's how we grow a team. But you have to have it where 30 people show up and you pick 5 after, where you're like, I was really impressed with this person. I was really impressed with this person. And then you offer them the training, and then you get them to go out and do more. So, there have been times where we brought strangers out to do searches, and they have located a body on the search that we were out for, and it traumatized them. And then so now it's not only about getting the police out there for that body, it is making sure that victim services comes out for these people who just found a dead body. And so that falls under us, though. We put them in there, so we make sure that they're protected in a sense.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's my main concern. Like, I'm not in the area, obviously, but a lot of the people that come to my channel were planning on going out and searching, and that's was one of the worries. Like, if you do find something, just understand that if they're searching for something, you could
Yeah.
find something.
And you know what? I think the reality is, you never really get desensitized to it. At least I haven't yet. So the amount of individuals that I've been there that we've located, or anyone on a search team has, it does stick with you, and it does traumatize you. But what I will say is, my advice to people is just be upfront about that. If you're going to find a dead body, you don't have to be, you're going to be traumatized. But in that moment, you have a job to do. You found the body, and now you have to make sure that police get there and take over the scene. And then if it's a search that Please Bring Me Home does, we're going to be there to help you through that. We're going to be there to help you through that. We've partnered with a psychotherapy group out of Ontario who is offering free services to family members, and anyone with Please Bring Me Home. And that's people who search if they do come across something and they're going through trauma. That's an avenue. We have members of victim services who are Please Bring Me Home, and victim services is kind of at our disposal that we can contact should we need them, and they'll come out right away. So we have those protections in place, but you will be, like, anyone thinking about coming out for a search looking for a missing person, if you find them, it is going to have a negative impact on you.
Mhm. But hopefully, for a lot of people, like, as long as they know what they're getting into, I think the reward of having answers for the family, I think that would justify being out there, as long as they're fully aware, right? Yeah.
That will overpower it, hopefully, right? That will hopefully, you're doing a good thing. You're going out there, and the way I look at it is by you being there and being the one that located the missing person, you now ensured that you were able to prevent somebody else from having to see it. And, that's something amazing in itself.
Mhm. Absolutely. And okay, so just really quickly, and not about one specific person, but there is a little aspect of drama in this community with the Jack and Lily case. And
You don't say.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't want to speak to any one person specifically. However,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, just generally speaking, about Please Bring Me Home and your requirements for your investigation team.
Mhm.
Are your investigators licensed, or is it a requirement? Are they volunteer? Can you just enlighten us to what your requirements are when somebody signs up to work for or volunteer for Please Bring Me Home in an investigative capacity?
Sure.
Not
So,
anyone specifically.
yeah, our recruitment process has really changed over the years. It's gotten so much better. So start with me as an example, and even Matt and Melissa, like the co-founders of Please Bring Me Home, us three started it. I went to school for social service worker. I didn't do any investigative training, search training whatsoever. Matthew was a journalist with the Owen Sound Sun-Times. Melissa, she's gonna kill me for not knowing, but I can't remember what she did before. But it was like she was a stay-at-home mom for a number of years, and it just came. What we had in common was that passion. So when we put out help initially, 2016, brand new to it, young and dumb. Anybody who wanted to join, we were just like, "Oh my gosh, you have all the time in the world. And that's what we need. We just want someone to go out and ask questions to people and try to find these people because that's what we did." So it started out with you just had to answer like 4 questions and welcome to Please Bring Me Home. Now our recruitment process is your stage one is you send in the recruitment email. You answer 4 or 5 questions. If we like what we see, you've thought about your answers. It's not just like a quick 1-2 sentence answer. We want to see like full answers on there. Then you get an email from myself or Brett or Carrie, which are 2 other directors, and they will email you 22 additional questions to answer. And then we need a resume, cover letter, please check. And then after that, if we like what we see, then we go to a Zoom interview. And then after that, if we like what we see, then we introduce you to our director of administration, who gets like copies of IDs and gets everything together in a package. And then we decide, okay, we're good with this person. And we have then, but before you get access to any case, you have to go through an orientation process. And it is, we do like a Zoom like this, and we go through a PowerPoint presentation and we present it. And we also give them access to it after. And then if they're good with that, and if they were engaged through that, and we've liked everything we see, then we give you access to a case, but you still haven't even reached out to family yet. What we want the person to review the file and then come back to us and tell us what they understand from that. What would their next steps be? And if we like those next steps, then we introduce you to family and law enforcement. So there's a lot. It has really grown over the years. It's not just like this goes to anybody now. You got to show it. Do you need to be retired law enforcement or hold a private investigator's license? No. Because we don't want people. I think the difficulty is those things are assets, and sometimes they're great. But you're not investigating these cases as a private investigator. You're helping investigate these cases as a volunteer with Please Bring Me Home under our policies and procedures. It's not under a PI policy and procedure. So you're not. They're assets, but they're definitely not necessary. We're not taking. Sorry. We're not taking just certain types of people. If you show that you have the passion and the determination and the drive to do this, which we can tell throughout those 5 stages of the recruitment process, you can maybe hack it for the first 2 stages, but you can't hack it through 5 stages of that. So you don't need a PI license. And I think one of the difficulties is people should never say that they're a private investigator investigating a case for Please Bring Me Home. You can be a PI. That's fine. But you're not investigating it as a PI. So it's not, I think that, and that also confuses people thinking like, okay, well, then people must be paying their private investigators. Well, no, we're not. If you're a PI, you don't get it. If you come here, this is a money, I shouldn't say a money losing endeavor, but I mean, you are going to be putting your own time and money likely into it. If you got to drive and go interview somebody, you're paying your own gas for that. So, it's, and that goes back to the drive and determination. People aren't doing it for the money because there is none.
Right. I appreciate you addressing that. Like I said, nobody specifically. I just wanted to know in general terms, and same with my next question. I heard, okay, so when people were volunteering for the search for Jack and Lily, they had to fill out, there had to be some kind of a pre-waiver or something that they filled out. So if somebody wanted to come and search for a specific search, can you tell us a little bit about the process just for like, if I wanted to come out and search with you, what would I have?
Easiest thing to do is just email search@pleasebringmehome.com. but you need to put in your full name, your cell phone number. I'm obviously going to have your email if you're emailing it. An emergency contact, full name, and their phone number. That's it. Those things. And typically when we're building a search team, it's a lot more extensive than that. Like we have a Granbury County search team that we've been operating for 3 or 4 years now. That has been the same members, and this Nova Scotia team / New Brunswick team that we're kind of meshing now is going to be responsible for Jesse Morrissey, Dylan Nealer, Jack and Lily Sullivan, and we're going to be a little bit more methodical as to who we get out there to search. But when it comes to Jack and Lily, honestly, like I would much rather there be more, anyways, than an extensive search process. So I just have to trust that. I mean, we certainly have a list of names that we would not allow on a search for Jack and Lily. Okay, I just want to throw that out there. That if they applied, we would likely decline their involvement. And I would rather have, again, 30, 40, 50 people out there searching for Jack and Lily and take the risk of someone who's never searched before, doesn't know what they're doing, because the 30 people came out. We searched over 100 kilometers over that one day for Jack and Lily. It's not 100 square kilometers. I don't want anyone getting that confused. It's 100 people are walking, between 5 and 9 kilometers that day,
Right.
looking for them. So, yeah, you just search at pleasebringmehome.com if you want to join the search efforts out there for Jack and Lily, or anywhere in Canada for that matter, because we're wanting to grow these teams, right? But just know that when you're out there searching, like that's kind of your interview. That's your test. If you don't do a good job,
Right.
then I'm not gonna want you back.
Right. So, but is there any kind of criteria that would be refused? I'm not talking about like involvement in the case or whatever. I'm talking like physical. I don't know what anything that could prevent somebody from being accepted as a volunteer searcher.
Yeah, you have to be able to walk through the woods, and I mean, there's woods here, and then there's woods in Lansdowne Station, and I find that very different. I find Lansdowne Station to be extremely difficult terrain. You're not walking, down the Salmon River looking for Dylan Euler's coat. You're in the woods, in the thick of it in Lansdowne Station. So you have to be physically able to do it. And there were some people that came out to this recent search for Jack and Lily with us who thought they could do it, and it wasn't until they were in there for an hour or two they're like, I can't do this, and now they know. But it's I just think people have to really ask themselves, do you think you can do it? Because if you're unsure and you don't think you're physical enough, but you really want to help, to be involved or do something like just help, I get it. But you're not helping if you go out there and then we have to get you out in the middle of the search. So I really gotta put that on people to just be aware of their capabilities. You don't have to be top of the line in your physical prime, but we want people who can walk out there for 9 kilometers. I don't want you to quit because you're tired or you're sore or your hip is sore again. I need you to be out there for the day.
Right. And I think that also feeds into the team effort. You're put in a group, you're put in a team, and if you're not physically capable of, staying with your team the whole day, I think that kind of, it's unfair to the rest of the team. So to be honest with yourself, because a number of us are, we're hoping to get out to Nova Scotia in the springtime, and I don't know if it's going to be able to align with a Please Bring Me Home's search, but we're more looking for advice on what we can do or places that we should look, or if it's even a good idea because I do know people that even just go out for walks with the intention of, searching, even now. So just basically
I
blind,
mean,
but we have what we're doing.
honestly though, it's you just have to stand somewhere out there, and if you were law, let's say you can't see houses, okay, even if this is a house nearby, if you're standing there, where would you go? Where would you walk to, thinking that you could locate some help? Would it be down this trail? And then think like it's hard to think like a kid, um, but they're typically going to focus on what's in front of them and the horizon. So uh, any trail, any offshoot trail, any waterway, even if okay, it's been done and done and done. Police have been here before. Search and rescue have been here. Police department has been here. Do it again. I'm all for people checking my work. It doesn't matter. Like anywhere, if we're following the wandering and misadventure theory, which is what we're focused on. I'm not saying that's definitely what happened, but that's what our focus is right now. Any waterways, any pathways that offshoot from where they were last seen. Really, there's
Mhm.
nothing you can do wrong. I wouldn't get too deep in the woods. I mean, would be my only recommendation to people. I can't see the kids making their way too far into the woods. It would have to be accessible by a pathway.
Right. And that interview that we watched before you came up, you did say the more you see the woods, the more you experience the area, the less likely it seemed to you that the kids would have gone out there or were out there. How do you feel about it today? What are your opinions today?
Yeah, I don't think they're deep in the woods. After walking it, I mean, when we lost group 6 there I don't know, a group became lost momentarily. And when I went in, I walked in the woods maybe 20 feet and I was like, how are they doing this? And I'm not saying the kids couldn't have done it. I just find it very unlikely that they really got super deep into those woods. So I'd be surprised if they're deep in the woods. I would think if they're anywhere, they likely got further than anybody initially anticipated via a trail, and they would maybe be. I mean, that when you got to factor in scattered remains now with animal activity, it's
Mhm.
I'd be surprised if they're more than 50 meters off a trail into the woods. So I don't think they wandered into the woods. I think if they wandered away, they kept following trails and offshoot trails and side trails, and then eventually, unfortunately,
Yeah.
if they wandered, I don't know what I believe. I think I saw a question before where it's like, do you really think they wandered off? I don't know. I think we have to keep everything open, but at this time, like our involvement is just the wandering and misadventure.
Hmm. And that I believe, and I'm just speculating here, but you can tell me I'm totally wrong, but I believe that's because it's an open investigation. You're not investigating, you're
Yeah.
searching on the premise of misadventure.
Yeah. I don't think we. I don't think anyone can do what they want. I just think that the RCMP have. Me speaking from my opinion and the different conversations I've been able to have over the years with different detachments and how they're operating on different cases. I have only seen a high level of involvement from the RCMP, whether it's searching or investigating. So I don't. I don't see a void in the investigating capacity on their end. I do see a void in the searching, um, simply because like they've done it. They did all the G Star, and we waited until they said they're not going back right
Mhm.
now, and then we said, okay, well, then this is probably where we can go in.
Mhm. And like, I don't know if you were, like, I know that you were, or as far as I've been told, you were in contact with the RCMP. They knew that you guys were going out there searching and they were supportive of your efforts. However, I don't know if you were privy to any of their investigation findings or things that they knew or had found, like if like their scent dogs lost the kid's scent at the end of the road, at the end of the driveway, from what we understand.
Mhm.
And my thought is, and I don't even know why I'm asking you this really, but maybe you've heard
Ask away.
something. But
Yeah.
if their scent, the only scent that they found stopped at the end of the road, why are we going the opposite direction into the woods? Like, I don't understand, you know, I don't know. And then to have 150 searchers in there for 6 days and then 75 more searchers 10 days later. And do you know what I'm saying? Like their scent was lost at the road. That's
Yeah.
complete opposite
And that's,
direction. And
yeah, I like dogs. I like the cadaver dog, and the scent dogs. I volunteer every other Saturday. Sorry, no, every Saturday now at the Grey Goose Animal Shelter, because one of my clients volunteers, so I go there and I volunteer with them. So love animals, okay? Not a perfect science. It's, scent dogs. They're trained to do one thing, and cadaver dogs are trained to do one thing, and human remain detection dogs, whatever. Not a perfect science. It's and I don't know how they work. I will always say that, if a dog runs a whole area and doesn't pick up human remains, it doesn't wash it off for us. We still got to go and get boots on the ground there, because the dog may not have picked it up, and who knows? So many factors go into that. Where was the wind going? How many people had already been there? You know, did vehicles sit idling at the end of that driveway before, where gas or oil or windshield washer fluid or whatever had leaked before? Like, there's so many other things that can mess with the with scent tracking. It suggested to me, if we're taking that scent tracking as it is, that they got out to the road and then the dog lost scent of the children, not because they had likely gotten picked up, but because they just lost their scent.
right.
And they could have gone any which way.
Mm-hmm. And then that leads me into my next question, just generally speaking, not about the cadaver dogs that because there was talk that you were bringing in cadaver dogs directly after the search that you did, and then that kind of got pulled back for whatever reason, and I don't need to know the reason, but please bring me home. You have access to cadaver dogs, and at what point do you usually bring them in, and what types of things can make that not happen?
Yeah, I mean, when it's a current case, I'm much more apt, and same with our search director. We're much more willing to use cadaver dogs, and yeah, I mean, it's probably not a bad thing for me to kind of talk about this, though. We had planned to bring in cadaver dogs, and it's a cadaver dog company, out east there. So it's not like we're bringing our Ontario cadaver dogs there, who were certainly willing to go, but wanted to stay under the radar. So when I publicly said that we're bringing out cadaver dogs, they just got spooked, because then what was being shared at that time was this altercation with a property owner. And so the last thing they wanted was, well, we want to stay under the radar, so we're not going now. So they're worried about their safety and the temperature of the environment there, like from temperature from people, not so much like weather-wise. So it just took some time to make them do what we had to do on our end to make them comfortable. And basically what that was is get them in communication with the RCMP, make sure that we know when they're going, just a few of us to please bring me home, and the RCMP. And then we're just not gonna tell anyone else when they're going. We'll tell them after they go. So they've been there twice. And then our search team that we've kind of begun to grow since then has been there 3 times since our search ended.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, they're certainly willing to go. When I said that winter is approaching, so we can't search anymore, I didn't realize that doesn't work for the cadaver dog company. That doesn't work for the search team here that wants to go out. So when it thaws, even for a few days, they go and they do some more searching. So we're continuing to clear areas and look and yeah.
So Wolfie, I've been totally ignoring you, and I know you have a few questions for Nick, so I would like to hand you over to you for a few moments. As long as you're still there, Rob. Did you fall asleep?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, you go ahead now.
Okay. Have you heard about the Darius McDougall case in Crow's Nest Pass in Alberta?
I have heard about it. Yes, we haven't been assisting at all with that. I don't believe family has asked us to assist. I think we did a post about him. But this is the young boy who was camping with his family.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah,
He wandered off. Yeah, from when he was
yeah.
camping in his family or something. What would be a good scenario for you to enter the case?
I mean, family asks, right? Family asks, and we do what we did with Jack and Lily. We get a search team going, and I mean, this is prime time to go out there. If RCMP aren't searching, or search and rescue isn't searching for Darius right now, I mean, certainly now because of the wintertime, then it's time to start those conversations now and get ready to go out there in the springtime. Springtime's like by far best time to search, hands down. You get too deep into the summer and it's rough. Fall is second best, but springtime, you have a high probability of success if you're searching in the springtime.
Okay.
Sorry, Rob, but I mean, it is an ongoing investigation. So is it
Yeah.
something that you would rather not enter at this particular time? Because I do have contact with the family and they are pretty desperate for some answers.
Yeah, I mean, if the family reach out and ask, um, we always we don't want to put the family through any unnecessary added hardship, right? But we want to make sure that we're getting the right information from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Like, what's the correct info to share publicly? And they're typically the ones that, if we have questions, they're the ones that can ask law enforcement for those search questions before we go out and deploy. So from an investigative avenue, yeah, I mean, it all depends on where the void is. Is there a void in an investigation? Is there a need for one right now with Darius? Is there a need for searching? It sounds like there is, but with a case like Darius, where now a winter is going to have passed. Same with Jack and Lily. I'd be surprised if search and rescue via law enforcement don't go out for Jack and Lily and Darius in the springtime. We see it with all the cases. You let the winter pass and they go out in springtime, and sometimes they'll locate them, but we'll see. If there's a void to fill, we'll come in and we'll help however we can.
Excellent. So you're good with me passing that along to their family? Because I don't want to put you in a position that, you feel obligated to do something that you're not, normally.
We don't say no. Like, if families ask for help, like, we recognize that we're like a last ditch desperate tool for families to utilize. So we know that if they're reaching out to us already, it means that they're desperate. Not that you have to be desperate to reach out to us, but we know that families recognize that. So I would just ask that they shoot us a quick email, and we can make it as painless as we need to. It sounds like this one is he had wandered off from the campsite, and it's just a matter of locating him.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Rob, go ahead.
Just give me a couple minutes. I've got a little chihuahua that needs to go out for a pee, so I'll be right back. But I got some more questions to ask.
Okay, well, in the meantime, I'm gonna start going through, because I see I've got a number of questions that were starred for you, Nick. So I'm just gonna start going through those while we wait for Rob to get back. So Root Strength would like to know if you can talk about the Please Bring Me Home dogs, and if they've searched. And I think you did hit on that a little bit.
Yeah, so Please Bring Me Home doesn't have any dogs like that are Please Bring Me Home owned, but we partner with a different dog groups, like canine groups around Canada. So we have like 3 teams out west, whether it's in BC or Alberta, that we utilize, and we have 2 teams in Ontario, and then we have 1 team out east. So, and these are just, are you willing to go out and search? We'll pay you mileage, we'll raise money for mileage and lodging if you need it. A lot of the times they'll decline, but yeah, they go out. Yes, I know that the teams that we've utilized out east for Jack and Billy, they have definitely searched at least twice under us that we've asked them to. I don't know what they've done before we had asked them to.
Okay. And Kimberly would like to know if Nick actually may think Jack and Willie could still be alive somewhere.
We always keep every possibility open, but at this time, I'm leaning more towards that they had passed away. Anything is possible, and you keep everything open, and we're just going to continue to try and find them for misadventure or wandering, or further debunk it.
Mhm. Um, what do you think of a child Jack's age, so 4 years old at the time, in a diaper, would manage that terrain now that you've seen it?
I don't think that Jack would have gotten more than on his own, without any assistance, gotten more than 4 feet into those woods.
4 feet.
4 feet into those woods on his own. Like maybe you walk into those woods 2 feet and there's a downed tree that you now have to climb over. So I would be very surprised if he was able to make it past any of that. I mean, if a young child would go to that and say no and turn around and go back to the easiest trail that they just probably came from, and stay on that.
Yeah. Wow. After you seeing what it was like in Pictou, do you think Lily and Jack wandered off? I think we've hit on that a few times.
If they wandered off, it would have been sticking to trails and offshoot trails, probably. That would be my guess.
I'm not going to ask this one, Ruby, because that's speculation. How many searchers do you usually have on site? If you return to Pictou, will you have more pinpointed search areas in mind? And just to add to that, will you be focusing on kind of the same areas, or are you open to other? And where do you come up with your search areas? Because that was the one thing, like I raised my eyebrow because I thought there were like all these searchers, like ground search and rescue, went through this area. Like, are you like confined to a certain search area? Like, is anybody dictating to you what you can and can't do, other
No,
than private property? We all know the drama around that, but
yeah.
you know.
No one dictated to us where we can and can't go. We would go wherever. I mean, let's say we get a tip in that says, "Hey, I'd love you guys to go check out this area here." I mean, if we're going to be there, we could. Um, Uh, sorry, I know it just went off the screen there. What was the first part of that? The how many searchers do we usually have? It
Right.
varies. We've had a search in Brockville, Ontario before where 30 people signed up to search. Three of us went there from Ontario, about a 6-hour drive. Nobody showed up. It was just us three that searched for the whole weekend. So you're going to get anywhere from 3 to usually 30 people. We did one search one time for Lois Hannah where over 200 people showed up. I'll never do that again. It was wildly crazy to try and maintain. But uh, I would say you average the best. My favorite number for searchers is like 10, because then you can do either 3 groups or 2 groups of 5. It doesn't matter. But then it's easy to maintain. You'd be surprised. You will cover a lot more ground with less searchers because you know where everyone's at, level wise. And then
And
from where we choose to search, it's like in this event, yeah, G-Star searched all these areas, but we're focused on moving waterways, pipeline trails, offshoot trails, anything that would be accessible to the children, and seem interesting to the children and easy to follow for the children.
fair enough. Yeah. I noticed Rob is back. Do you want to continue, Rob?
Yeah. What are your partners? Which partners do you work for, and or do they work for you? And which are the best ones to use?
Sorry, did you say partners?
Yeah.
Um, we don't
And
have
if go ahead.
we don't have we have consultants that we ask, like cadaver dog companies,
Okay.
that we will reach out to.
Yeah.
But like in terms of partners, like partners and consultants, Dr. Arnfield, I would consider more of a partner because we go to him quite often with questions, especially if there's like a criminal element involved. Ted Phillips, a retired master searcher with the OPP, I would consider a partner because we go to him before we go on any search, really. Especially from a wandering perspective, we kind of show him the maps and go through the case with him. Yeah, or there's like various consultants. We have a variety of ground penetrating radar teams across Canada that we utilize and ask for their help, and cadaver dog companies, that go and do search and rescue and whatnot.
Okay. Awesome. So in Western Canada, you've got about 46 cases, and none of them have actually been located. What were your challenges and what were your successes?
Yeah, so we've certainly located like some people out west, um, whether that be like we've located a lot of people who've run away from foster care, who are young persons, and because we got involved right away when they had asked for help. Now, the challenges out west are maintaining a consistent level of investigation team members. We have the search personnel. We just don't know where to send them most times because we don't have the people that stay on out west most of the time. We have a crew of I think 4 members out west right now who are active investigation team members, but it's been difficult. It's easier to maintain here, I think, in Ontario because this is where it started, and you get to actually the directors and the people who have been at this for the last decade, you get to actually meet them in person and hold in-person meetings and meet for coffee. So the challenge I think out west is you're not getting that. You're not getting that connection. I guess maybe that's lacking, but that's been a challenge out west for sure.
Okay. That's pretty much it for me. I might have a Jack and Lily question, but I'll wait if anybody wants to go up and ask questions.
Okay, so I've got the Please Bring Me Home, the donation fundraising link scrolling across the bottom there. So that's going to answer the next 2 questions just about you operate on donations, and we know that that definitely helps and sponsors, I suspect. And then the next question was, is Please Bring Me Home a registered charity for those wanting to make donations?
Yes, we are. We became a charity because we wanted to hold like 50-50 draws, and we had to do that to hold 50-50 draws to raise some funding. So we are a registered charity. I don't think we're going to do like lottery draws in the near future. We've done it. What we've been doing lately is if we have a search that's going to cost an amount of money. By the way, a lot of our searches don't cost any money. We just send the searchers out there and they go and do it. The Jack and Lily one, because we had to send people from Ontario. And then if we're, what was the one before that we did? It cost, the Ryan Stuka case out in BC. So the money, what we typically do is we just locate a business that would be willing to donate that money. We break down the cost. Hey, this is what we would use the money on. The hotel cost this much, the mileage would be this much, the search equipment will be this much, and we ask them for just one lump sum donation. And then after the search, we just put it out on our website and on social media and thank them for doing that. And they get the tax write-off also because we're a charity.
Right. Okay, Laddie would like to know if there are investigations with Jesse Morrissey.
Yeah, we have. So the individual leading the investigation on that case is actually our search director in Ontario. So she had come out with us when we did the search for Jesse and Jack and Lily. But in terms of searching, the search team that we're building in Nova Scotia and New Brunswick and continuing to expand on will be searching in the spring for Jesse and Dylan and Jack and Lily.
Excellent. Here's one for you. Do family members searching compromise the search sites, and what would be found?
there's always the possibility anybody could really compromise a search site. But typically, by the time we come in, it is a risk to take. You're coming in late to the party at this time when we go and do a search, usually. Um, typically we don't have family members going on a search for anybody unless they're with a specific person. Like we usually assign a person from Please Bring Me Home or somebody who we've been communicating with that we trust to go along with that party. And they're not only searching, they're also kind of taking these notes down or mental notes down if there is something to watch for. So we don't do that too much because then we delve into the investigative aspect. Oh, they did something really weird over here. Well, jot it down. We can share with our CMP, and that's up to them. But it kind of filters into we would much rather have more people search. And no matter if family comes out or not, I can always pair them with somebody to make sure that somebody is with them at all times.
Mhm. How were you treated, like in general, in Pictou when you got there?
I would say half and half welcoming. There were some property owners that didn't want us. Like we had one property owner who said, "No, I don't want you to search here, but I'll show you what's been done." And they walked our search group on and showed them what's been done there in these bodies of water, and showed them what was left after the GSAR and our CMP search. We've had another property owner who said, "I don't want you here, but I'll give you the right out. I'll help you get out of the way." And then, of course, we had another property owner who was upset that we were on, quote unquote, their property. I think the people there are tired. A lot of people have had their properties and their sheds and things broken and destroyed because of people continuing to go there onto their property and stuff, just for whatever purpose, right? It's Jack and Lily is a topic that a lot of people are talking about, and I just think that Pictou County does not want to be known for 2 kids who've gone missing, and I think the property owners are probably just tired of it. Of course, they want the kids found; they're just tired.
Yeah, it is. I can only imagine how intrusive it would be at some point, and I'd like to think the best of people that they do want to help and do what they can to help search, but at the same time, it can become intrusive.
Yeah.
But I think I would still allow people to search myself. And I believe we talked about already that there will be another search. Have you looked at other search areas or possibilities for the future?
Yeah, we've been working a lot just on the data available, right? Like how far have kids wandered before who've gone missing, who are around the same age? There is someone who's supplied us with a very well done document on wandering and misadventure, on how far these kids could have gotten, and we're certainly going to focus a bit on that. So yeah, farther out's what you gotta work with. If it's been searched and they haven't been found, then they were underwater at the time, or they made their way outside the perimeter and they got farther than anyone anticipated. That's really the only options. I don't see what hasn't been searched there, where if they haven't been found, then it just seems to me like they're most likely they were underwater or farther out. They got farther than people thought.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys, and I can't picture the search map in my mind at the moment, but did you guys get near Gerlach Lake? I believe that's in the area, if I'm not mistaken.
Near where? Sorry?
Gerlach Lake?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Lynn would like to know what kind of water equipment do you have, and if it's drones or sonars, do you go past the banks of the water? Like, will you check at depths at some point?
Yeah.
Or?
We got pretty lucky with, we do have members at Aqua Eye, which is an underwater sonar equipment that you can use You do have underwater. We do have people who have underwater, like waterproof GoPros, rather, that would be utilized. But we got lucky in this time because anywhere that you went along that middle river of Pictou, you could see the bottom during that time we went back there. A lot of, and we were worried because a lot of that was, sorry, um, deep, like the week prior, because you guys got a lot of rain. But at the time that we finally went out there, it had started to recede quite a bit. We would have access if the water was too deep, to be able to see the bottom. We would have ensured access to like an underwater drone, with it's a high definition robot camera on a leash, basically, that would go under the water, or the aqua eye. Oh,
Seem to be muted. That was me. I think I just messed him up, guys. I was muted. He thinks he has a problem with this sound and he doesn't. It was me. My bad. I'm going to put a cap on the starred questions now. Melissa, thank you so much for starring all these for us, but I still have quite a few to go and we're over an hour and a half. I don't want to keep Nick up all night long. So sorry I didn't do a last call, but no more starred questions. Okay. I think you guys are asking some really great questions, but we want to try to, be efficient with our time. If your question's already been answered as well, I'm probably going to skip it. Depends. But let me just look. So this one looks like it's for me, and I can tell you that it's a little far out from the search area that we know of. So I'm going to go ahead and say no, but I don't know for sure. I wasn't part of any of the searches, right? Are you back?
there we go. Can you hear me now?
Yep. Can hear you now.
Yep, can hear you perfect.
Say again.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was muted and I might have freaked you out and then I made you go off on some goose hunt for no reason because it was me. So yes, Sue would like to know how long does it take for a body to become just.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, there we go. Sorry, my one Bluetooth headset died and I just had to find my other one. So we're good.
Okay. All right.
Okay, sorry, you were asking how long does it take a body to become just bones? I don't know. It all depends on where the person goes missing though. Is water involved? Is there a high level of animal activity? I can only go with what I've experienced. Like when we had located Terry Shope, he was still fully intact and he had been underwater and then resurfaced in a 3-week period. Yeah, we're always expecting to. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's right. I was just going to say it all depends on environmental and
Yeah.
like weather conditions. Like there's a lot of factors that play into that.
Mhm.
Does Nick have a professional search leader with every member of the public team searching?
We try to. We try to have somebody with each group that has searched before. If not, then you're really just taking the person who's leading each search crew, who seems to have the most level head and who is the most calm under a situation. So, and we become pretty good at recognizing who those people are prior to searching. I think there was maybe only one group that didn't, but in that essence, I think we made some concessions to ensure that they had somebody that was able to kind of record everything during it. So,
Okay. There's a couple of questions here, guys, that I think that we've already hit on, and also one that is asking for specific information about individuals that I'm not going to ask Nick to answer. But so if there is animal involvement, is that pretty clear to tell when you come across remains, or is that kind of out of your wheelhouse? That's
Out of our wheelhouse, we just find the remains and don't really determine how or what had happened. People think that maybe the wintertime isn't the greatest time to search, but I would err on, that's where you're going to see animal tracks the most. So and that's why we really wanted to send some people back there at the winter, is where are a lot of these animal tracks leading? Because if there are human remains out there, then those animals are going to be able to locate those quicker than we likely would. So follow those tracks.
right. Did you get any kind of a briefing from the RCMP before you set your searchers loose out there?
Yeah, we had multiple meetings with them, just kind of going over where we're going to go and why we want to go there, and just some words of advice from them to us on what to expect for certain people out in that area. But they didn't ask us to go. They didn't say don't go, because they can't do that. It was just kind of like, we're going. And if there's anything that you could give us prior to going out, we would graciously accept it. So they didn't share a whole bunch of details with us on the Jack and Lily case, just really went into where they had searched, what GSAR had done. GSAR had also sent us some information. And, we're focusing on waterways really at that time when we did that search.
So going over to the Dylan Eller case, and I was wondering about this too. Do you believe that Dylan also wandered off and drowned? It could, because I know that brook or whatever that flows directly into the Bay of Fundy, which I think is a little bit different than the waterways around where Jack and Lily disappeared from. I think it's a lot more believable that there's absolutely no trace of Dylan Eller. But
this one really splits everybody, because the boots were found in the brook that are allegedly Dylan's boots, and that even splits. Are these Dylan's boots? How do we know? Could they have been placed there? Could this have all been a ruse? Of course. But Bay of Fundy, highest tides in the world. If he did make his way to the Salmon River, not the creek behind Grandma's, but if he made his way to the Salmon River, I would believe that yes, he drowned. But I don't know. We are searching for Dylan right now on both fronts. On he had wandered off and drowned, and searching that we're doing in the spring is also doing some specific areas for the other theories that kind of surround his case. So it's possible. It's more possible that he did make his way into the river. Unfortunately.
And like you said, like I didn't know a whole lot about Dylan's case until like very recently, and I started looking at it, and just that neighborhood and where it's situated, and it's hard for me to imagine a toddler running that quickly, that he's completely out of sight in 18 seconds, the amount of time Grandma turned her back. So there's a lot of unanswered questions, I think, just like Jack and Lily's case, but that one seems a little bit more plausible.
Yeah, it's a hard one, because I was told by a very high level search and rescue personnel out east that if he made his way, and they believed that if Dylan made his way into the creek behind Grandma's with how fast they had said the water was going, if he made his way into that creek behind Grandma's, then by the time search and rescue actually got there to search for him, which wasn't that long, he was already in the Bay of Fundy. So
Yeah.
their theory was like, if he did make it there, then it very well could have. I just don't know. I don't know how fast that water was actually going, how high that creek was. I know the Salmon River, you get in the Salmon River and you're gone. You're going to go out to the Bay of Fundy. So I don't know. I don't know. I truly don't know. But we're going to continue to search for him anyhow.
Were there ribbons up when you search the area at the pipeline?
I would say mostly. Like they start to really get spaced out and less frequent the further down the pipeline you get, which just kind of coincides with, I think, the initial thought of what time they had actually left could have been incorrect, because who really knows what time those children did leave if they wandered. And they could have made it outside that perimeter that they initially thought. You could see it was kind of slowing down, but you saw that no matter what direction you went. That's not to say that they didn't continue searching the area as methodically, but you could tell that less flagging tape was used, obviously, the farther away you got.
What breeds of dogs do you use? He said that they don't use dogs, they outsource dogs.
Yeah, we just outsource them, so I don't know what dogs I could tell you.
At some point, Nick, would you look at locations considered more of purposeful concealment? Interesting that less is more. Sounds like pre-research is vital. I think going off of that would be not misadventure. I think.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's going to involve us investigating it from a non-misadventure capacity, which is not what we're doing. What my thought would be is that if anyone is doing some pre-research and putting things together of some concealed areas, send it to RCMP, and they'll get GSAR to go out and look. But that's not really where we come in.
Mhm. All right, so this one, did you vibe that a certain culture maybe had protection for the children or have dodged DCF? I mean, I don't know how you expect me to answer that. Are you asking?
I don't know. I don't know. Well, everyone has to keep every option open and shouldn't lean heavily into any possible theory. It's at this time we're involved from the misadventure and wandering theory.
Mhm. And then Rachel also wants to know, did you guys tear up ground along inside underwater?
As much as we could. Yeah, as much as we could. I mean, you could see you could see down, like you could see the bottom of the river, and it wasn't that deep in most spots. So yeah, I would say most of the searchers, if not all, were eventually in the river at some point.
Mhm. And then finally, here's our last one from our moderator. Do you have ties to or information for people that would like to become volunteers, but go through a search and rescue certification course before becoming part of the team? Like, do you have any?
We're working on more training for our volunteers. It's really on interviewing and investigations and note taking right now, though. Open source stuff, and things to get the investigations up to par. From search and rescue, we're thinking about it. It's just because we're such a unique organization in the sense that we get anonymous tips and we investigate those tips, and then we go out and search. And our level of proof that we need to go search these areas is maybe a little bit less than what law enforcement may need. So we're filling in the void there. We have ties to retired members of search and rescue who've given us their training modules and books. And a lot of those things have stayed the same. A lot of the things you use when you look for lost children or Alzheimer's people or intoxicated people who wander off is mostly the same as it's always been. So we do rely heavily on those things. I'm gonna have to think about that a bit more. I know my search director is watching this right now, and I know that she's
wanting to implement some type of certification process for searchers out there. But we have search and rescue groups like GSAR and OSARVA and all these things all across Canada. So if you're wanting to do something like that, it's like you could jump on and join with them. But we would eventually like to implement that, but it's not high on the to-do list because there's just so much to do all the time with looking for the missing people.
And then I have a question because there is a lot of talk about abandoned mine shafts out there. Did you guys come across any of those? And if you did, what would you do to search that? Is that like I don't even know.
We didn't come across any on our search. If we did, like let's say I was sending people out next week and there wasn't, I don't know how much snow there is, or let's say there's 4 feet. But if we were to send people out, we would have them just mark where that is, and then that would go in the report that goes to the RCMP. And then if the RCMP have not searched it, then we would go and search it, but we wouldn't just stop the plan what we're doing and be like, oh, let's go search this mine now. That would take, if you want to do it right, you kind of got to plan appropriate for that.
Right. Well, that's all of our start questions and my questions, Rob. What else do you have for Nick? I think, he's been here just about an hour and a bit, hour and a half.
Yeah,
Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I do. The bridge with the train tracks, there were apparently somebody was saying that there were culverts there. Were they ever checked?
There were 2 culverts that our team actually had crawled through, but off the top of my head, if I know they were the ones at the train tracks, I don't know. I don't think they were by us. If they were searched, I would assume that, if it's the culverts under the train tracks, I could only hope that they were searched by GSAR early on.
Okay. Do you have any theories yourself? What might have happened to the children?
Until, at the end of springtime, if we don't locate them with all the searches that we have planned, and I'm sure GSAR is going to go out there in the springtime, but we're expanding on the wandering theory that they got farther than anyone anticipated. Ask me the question at the end of springtime, because if we don't locate them then, I don't know. Right now, I don't think wandering off has been debunked. And I know it's so rare for 2 children to go, but once they go together, once they get a certain distance, they're more likely to continue on the path they're going than they are to turn around. So yeah, it's rare, but if 2 people go together, then it's possible they could have gotten farther than we had initially thought. Right now, wandering, that they wandered off until it's completely debunked, which I don't think it has been.
Okay. And when do you guys determine that? Just after the spring?
The lack of evidence is evidence in itself, because if we go out and we complete the searches we want to complete, and GSAR is going to complete what they complete, if we don't come up with anything, I'd be surprised. And it would mean that we got to really start focusing on other avenues.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for having me on.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to have you here, and I'm so happy that all of our chatters got their questions answered. And I think we hit on a lot of really good information that there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of questions, a lot of misinformation going around out there. So thank you so much for coming up and answering our questions and giving your time so generously and volunteering your time and your services to all these families that need help, because I can't imagine what it would be like to have a missing loved one, especially a child, and to know that there's a group of people out there that are volunteering their time is it's heartwarming in a very dark situation. So thank you so much.
No, thank you very much.
Do you need me to boot you out, or are you good to leave? Or
I can dip. Thanks so much for having me. I'm sure we'll chat again.
You bet. Thank you
Thanks,
again.
guys. See you.
Bye. So how great was that, you guys? I think that was amazing.
Is everybody
We got a
happy?
lot. Yeah, we got a lot of information, a lot of good questions answered, I think, and we had, we were able to hopefully put some of the speculation and bullshit rumors about Please Bring Me Home to rest. I feel like they deserve our thanks and our gratitude for the time they put into the searches and useful information that we got today. Because I know a number of us want to get out there, we want to help, but we really have no idea what we're doing. So, what do you want to say, Rob?
Uh, realistically, I had just hang on. My dog is just give me a sec here. He just jumped in my lap. Um, I had I've got a little bit of I've got family that's actually part of the RCMP. They're not part of it. They work side by side with the RCMP, and so I can understand there was a one particular case back in 1992. There was a kid that was Karina Gustafson. It was a few years back, and back in 1992, she was abducted, uh, raped, sexually assaulted. They found her bones. The guy was convicted in 2005. My family member actually was part of that forensic team. And I've got a sister that's actually works side by side with the RCMP as a paramedic. So she sees a lot of the math and the math camps and whatever you want to call it. I think it's just well, hang on a sec.
Having pets and doing a live stream is a thing, you guys. It's a distraction, but it's well worth it to have a pet. So everybody's saying thank you so much to Nick for joining us and maybe closer to a new search when a new search is announced. Maybe he'll have time to come back and answer some more questions for us. So I don't really have anything else. I definitely want Wolfie to finish his story because I've heard it and it's very interesting. His connections to other cases, and so we're gonna wait for Wolfie.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Just gave her a treat. Keep her quiet. um, but yeah, with my family and everything involvement with the RCMP, and they are, I find them here out west a little bit more transparent compared to the east, and I know people are very frustrated online and not getting the answers that they need, and I think it's just we just need to be patient. I think that's just my opinion.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And I keep saying, as hard as it is, sometimes I do have faith that the RCMP they're working this case and they know so much more than we will ever know. And patience is going to be key. Ron, Mexico, was there BS rumors about them? I missed that. Just about private investigators and things connected to that, how they got involved in the case. And I feel like my questions, while not about any specific individuals, I think that we can deduce from my questions and Nick's answers of any of the stuff that we've heard. We can sort out what's real and what's not and what deserves our attention. And there's very little of the drama that deserves any attention whatsoever. So that's all I meant about that. What else do we have here? Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of information that came out. I would love to be part of the Please Bring Me Home group. And I mean, if I will reach out to Darius's family and I will let them know that Please Bring Me Home is open to discussions and It is in our neck of the woods, Rob and I believe Belinda is also, Belinda believes. And there's a number of you in Alberta as well, and I would definitely be into helping that search effort because it's local. Not only that, but traveling to Nova Scotia to help with Jack and Lily as well. Thank you, Nick. Thanks. It was amazing. I agree. Does anybody have anything else that they would like to talk to today? Well, that's good. I'm glad you got to catch up with your friend. And there's a thing that's called replay, so feel free to rewatch. I think it was very informative, and I'm so thankful for Wolfie to have reached out and, like Nick said, being relentless in his pursuit to get Nick on the live stream. So very good.
Well, you're welcome, Charmaine.
I find a local team of spelunkers. They love going in mines. I know I used to. What are those? I don't think I've ever heard that word before.
Oh.
Have to watch over. Yes, Ron. Oh, right. I did hear something about that with the PI. Yeah, and I mean it's still going on right now, and I mean it doesn't put an end to the questions people have, but it does answer some things as far as please bring me home goes. Right. So and that's my goal. Yes, thank you, Explore. Darius's Law. So here is the website, you guys, the link to go and sign a petition, and that's for National Amber Alert Reform. Super duper important. If you're Canadian, everybody needs to sign it. It's just a matter of time before another child goes missing, and I don't know. I think that Amber Alerts, even if it's not an Amber Alert, a different alert system when any child goes missing, I think is super important. And you can go to my community page, that's right, to get that same petition. And you hope they change the Amber Alert criteria. I think that it would be more beneficial to keep the Amber Alert criteria, but create a new alert system. You know, Amber Alert is very far-reaching, which good, perfect. But I'm talking about the kids that go missing, and we have a 20-minute time frame, maybe an hour time frame. They couldn't have got that far. The area doesn't have to. The alert doesn't have to go out that far if it's not suspected to be an abduction. But still, local people need to keep their eye out. And I think a vulnerable persons alert isn't it, because when we see a vulnerable persons alert, we're typically thinking about maybe an adult who, can fend for themselves on some level. It's not as dire, I think, as a small child. That's just my opinion. Not that one life is any more important than another, but you've got the vulnerability that is amplified with very young children. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? That's what I think.
I'm 100%
No?
behind you.
Yeah. So we're all just gonna go and we're all gonna sign that petition. We're gonna get change, or we're gonna get a new alert or something, because it's a matter of time, like I said before. Unfortunately, the next child disappears. And anything else you guys want to talk about? Well, let's hope New Year delivers for Belinda, Chelsea, and the family. Absolutely. There are some really good-hearted people that donate their time, their energy, their knowledge, money. They donate, and we all need to show our appreciation and do what we can. And all that we can do as a community, I think, is try to remain positive, keep the conversation going. We're not going to let Jack and Lily's name fade off in the distance. It's not going to go cold as long as we keep talking about them, right? My opinion only. But thank you, everybody, for being here. We're just about at 2 hours. I appreciate everybody. I've got a couple of new members. Got Ron Mexico, and my babies is my number one, and then
Right on.
gifted 10 memberships. So congratulations to everybody that got a membership, and thank you everybody for being with us tonight. And with that, I'm going to end it unless you have anything else you want to add.
I am good.
You're good? Perfect. And I really appreciate my mods. I noticed that there wasn't a whole lot of drama in here today. So thank you so much. And we will see you guys on the next stream.
See you guys later.